The fluorescent lights of O'Hare's Terminal 3 buzzed like angry hornets overhead, casting harsh shadows on the scuffed linoleum floor. My Uncle Harlan gripped the wheelchair handles so tight his knuckles turned white, wheeling my grandmother toward the gate like she was just another piece of checked baggage headed for the lost and found. "She's not our problem anymore, Oliver," he spat over his shoulder, his voice slicing through the din of announcements and rolling suitcases. "You want to play hero? Fine. But don't come crying when she forgets your name again." I lunged forward, my heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to escape the betrayal unfolding right there in the middle of Chicago's busiest airport. Grandma Eleanor's frail hand reached out, her fingers trembling as they brushed mine, cold, papery, but still holding the spark of the woman who'd baked apple pies from scratch and taught me to fish on Lake Michigan's choppy shores. "Oliver, my light," she murmured, her voice a fragile thread in the chaos, eyes cloudy with Alzheimer's fog, but piercing straight to my soul. In that instant, as the family I'd bled for turned their backs, I knew this wasn't just abandonment. It was erasure. They'd planned it for weeks, whispering in the shadowed corners of our family home in Evanston, Illinois, while I was at my dead-end barista job, slinging overpriced lattes to stressed-out commuters. Grandma had been slipping for years. First the little things, like calling me by my dad's name, then the big ones, wandering the neighborhood in her nightgown, convinced the corner bodega was her childhood farm in rural Michigan. But it wasn't the disease they hated, it was me. The gay grandson who'd come out at 17, shattering their perfect Protestant facade. "You're a phase, Ollie," my mom had sobbed back then, clutching her cross necklace like it could ward off my truth. "Pray it away, for God's sake." Dad just stared at the floor, silent as the grave. Harlan, ever the golden boy with his real estate empire and trophy wife, had taken charge after Dad's heart attack 2 years back. "We're selling the house," he declared at the last family dinner, fork stabbing into his steak like it was my heart. "Eleanor's going into a home upstate. Cheap, no frills. And you, Oliver? Figure it out. You're 25. Time to man up. Man up. Code for stop being queer and get a real job." I'd begged them to let her stay with me. Our creaky Victorian rental was big enough, and I could swing night shifts at the coffee shop to cover meds. But no, "She'll drag you down," Aunt Rita hissed, her Botox-frozen face twisting in disgust. "And frankly, with your lifestyle, you're already a burden." So there we were, on a drizzly Tuesday in October, the air thick with jet fuel and regret. The family, Mom, Harlan, Rita, and my cousins like a pack of hyenas in khakis, huddled by the security line, tickets to Florida clutched like lifelines. Grandma's suitcase sat abandoned by her feet, a faded red Samsonite stuffed with her favorite Afghans and dog-eared romance novels. I dropped to my knees, ignoring the stares from harried travelers, and wrapped her in my arms. She smelled like lavender soap and the faint tang of hospital antiseptic, her silver hair tickling my cheek. "I love you, Gram," I whispered, throat burning. "I'll fix this. I swear." Harlan yanked the chair back. "Enough drama, kid. Social services is on speed dial." He shoved a crumpled brochure into my hand. Some underfunded facility in Rockford, the kind where residents rot in hallways lined with peeling paint. Mom wouldn't even look at me, her eyes fixed on the floor, mascara smudging from unshed tears she reserved for Hallmark movies, not her own flesh and blood. As they shuffled toward the gate, Cousin Jake muttered, "Faggot's gonna end up just like her, alone and forgotten." The word landed like a gut punch, but I bit my tongue. Fighting back would only prove them right. The airport cop who showed up 10 minutes later was a burly guy named Ramirez, with a mustache that screamed 80s cop show and eyes that softened when I explained. "Ma'am, you okay?" he asked Grandma, who blinked up at him like he was a long-lost suitor. "This is my grandson," she said dreamily, patting my hand. "He's got his grandfather's eyes, blue as Lake Huron on a summer dawn." Ramirez radioed for a medic, and soon she was on a gurney, for dripping into her vein, headed to Northwestern Memorial under my signature as next of kin. I rode in the ambulance, holding her hand the whole way, the siren's wail mirroring the scream building in my chest. By midnight, she was settled in a sterile room on the dementia ward, monitors beeping like accusatory metronomes. The doctor, A harried woman with a clipboard thicker than my novel aspirations pulled me aside. Mr. Whitaker, your grandmother's advanced. Stage 6, maybe 7. She needs full-time care. Do you have family support? I laughed, a hollow bark that echoed down the hall. Family? They're on a beach in Miami by now, toasting to freedom. She nodded sympathetically, jotting notes. We'll hold her for observation. But long-term, look into Medicaid waivers. Or hospice. Hospice. The word clawed at me as I slumped into the vinyl chair by her bed, watching her sleep under the harsh fluorescence. Hospice meant endgame. And I was broke. Rent overdue. Credit cards maxed from covering her copays. My phone buzzed. A text from Logan, my best friend since high school theater club. Heard from your mom. You okay? Grabbing beers at the hideout. Logan Hayes, tall, broad-shouldered, with that easy grin and tousled brown hair that made every queer guy's heart stutter in Chicago's West Loop bars. We'd been inseparable since he caught me crying in the drama room after my first breakup, handing me a joint and saying, "Screw him, Ollie. The world's full of assholes, but at least we've got each other." I typed back, "Not tonight. Graham's in the hospital. Family bail." His reply was instant. "On my way." That's Logan, reliable as Lake Michigan fog, the kind of straight guy who didn't flinch at my Grindr stories or drag me to pride floats. Or at least, I thought he was straight. We'd never crossed that line, but lately, his glances lingered a beat too long, his hugs a fraction too tight. Wishful thinking, probably. Guys like him didn't fall for baristas with trust issues. He burst into the room an hour later, coffee cups in hand and a backpack slung over one shoulder. "Black, 2 sugars, you're poison." He plopped into the chair opposite, his knee brushing mine under the tray table. Up close, he smelled like fresh laundry and that cedar cologne that made my stomach flip. "Talk to me, Whit. What the hell happened?" I spilled it all. The terminal betrayal, the slurs, the brochure like a death sentence. Logan's jaw clenched, fists balling on his thighs. "Those pricks. Harlan's got more money than God and can't spring for a decent facility? And your mom, Jesus, Ollie, she's your blood." His voice cracked on the last word, green eyes flashing with a fury I'd only seen once, when some frat boy shoved me at a Cubs game. "It's fine," I lied, staring at the 4 lines snaking into Grandma's arm. She always said blood's thicker than water, but hers feels like ice. Logan reached across, squeezing my forearm. "Warm, steady. You're not alone in this. We'll figure it out. Together." His thumb traced a small circle on my skin, and for a heartbeat, the room shrank to just us, the beeps fading into white noise. Then Grandma stirred, murmuring, "Logan? Is that you, dear? Come closer. Let me see that handsome face." He leaned in, kissing her forehead like she'd asked him to the prom. She'd always adored him, calling him the son Oliver shoulda had when Dad checked out emotionally. We sat like that till dawn, trading stories to keep the vigil. Logan recounted his latest architecture internship flop, a scale model that collapsed mid-presentation, earning him a Creative Demolition Award from the boss. I laughed, the sound rusty but real, and confessed my secret novel draft, a queer coming-of-age tale set in 90s Chicago, gathering dust on my laptop. "Publish it," he urged, eyes earnest. "Your voice? It's gold, Ollie. Don't let them dim it." By sunrise, with nurses bustling in for vitals, exhaustion hit like a freight train. "Crash at my place," Logan said, helping me to my feet. "I'll drive." His apartment in Wicker Park was a bachelor's dream. Exposed brick, vinyl records stacked like Jenga towers, and a pull-out couch that smelled faintly of him. I collapsed onto it, but sleep dodged me, replaying the terminal scene on loop. Around 3 a.m., I padded to the kitchen for water, finding Logan at the window, staring at the rain-slicked street. "Can't sleep?" I asked. He turned, shirtless in boxers, the city lights carving shadows across his chest. "Nightmares about my old man. Same shit, abandonment vibes. His dad had split when he was 12, leaving his mom to sling doubles at a diner. We bonded over that scar tissue early on." He poured me a glass, our fingers brushing. "Ollie, about today. I hate seeing you hurt like this." His voice was low, gravelly, and when he stepped closer, the air crackled. I wanted to lean in, taste the vulnerability on his lips, but fear clamped down. "Logan, a pager buzzed, mine hospital alert." Grandma's vitals dipping. We raced back, the moment shattering like cheap glass. The next week blurred into a grind. Shifts at the coffee shop, dodging judgmental stares from regulars who knew my story. Endless paperwork for Grandma's care, and Logan's quiet anchors. Groceries dropped off, calls checking in. Family radio silence, save for Harlan's curt email, handle it. We're done. But Grandma rallied, her lucid spells like stolen gifts. One afternoon, she gripped my hand, eyes clear as Lake Michigan shallows. Oliver, promise me something. Live true. Love fierce. Don't let them make you small. Tears stung. I nodded, throat too tight for words. And Logan, that boy's got stars in his eyes for you. Don't be blind, child. Her words haunted me that night at Logan's, where I'd crashed again after a double shift. He cooked spaghetti carbonara from a Food Network binge, candles flickering on the coffee table because even bros deserve ambience. We ate cross-legged on the floor, wine loosening tongues. Remember junior prom? He asked, twirling pasta. You in that thrift store tux, looking like a movie star. I was so jealous of the attention. Yeah, but more. His gaze dropped, cheeks flushing. My pulse thundered. Logan, what are you? A knock shattered it. My cousin Jake, drunk and belligerent, pounding the door. Open up, queer. Mom says you stole Graham's meds. Lies, all of it, but the slur ignited old wounds. Logan shoved him back, chest heaving. Get the fuck out before I call the cops. Jake sneered. Careful, Hayes. Hang with him too long, and you'll catch the gay. The door slammed. Silence swallowed us. Logan turned, apology in his eyes, but I bolted, raw, exposed, convinced I'd imagined the spark. Days stretched into a chasm. I avoided Logan, holing up at the hospital, where Grandma faded faster. Lucid moments rarer, her world shrinking to echoes. One evening, as rain lashed the window, she pressed a locket into my palm. Gold, engraved with E and H forever. Hide this, she whispered. Your grandfather's secret. It holds the key. Inside, a tiny key and faded photo. Young Eleanor, arm in arm with a woman, not Grandpa Harry. My breath caught. Graham a lesbian? In the 50s Midwest? The implications crashed. Her widowhood, the unspoken grief, the fierce love she'd poured into me. I pocketed it, heart aching with revelation. She'd lived hidden, but chosen visibility for me, outing herself in quiet ways, defending my truth when the family raged. You're my legacy, Oliver, she said, voice fading. Fight for yours. She slipped under then, monitor steady but her light dimming. I texted Logan, come, please. He arrived soaked, eyes red-rimmed. We held vigil, his hand finding mine under the blanket. Tentative, then firm. No words, just presence, the first crack in my walls. But the family circled back, vultures scenting weakness. Harlan called the next morning. Eleanor's will reading tomorrow. Be there, or forfeit. Forfeit what? She had a modest pension, the house sold out from under us. I went anyway, stealing for the knife twist in their lawyer's office downtown, all mahogany and moral superiority. Mom dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed hanky. Rita whispered prayers. The attorney, a slick type in pinstripes, cleared his throat. Eleanor Whitaker's estate totals $4.2 million. Investments, properties, trusts accumulated over decades. Gasps rippled. Harlan leaned forward. What? She told us it was peanuts. The lawyer slid the will across. To my grandson Oliver James Whitaker, my entire fortune, in recognition of his unwavering love and the courage he embodies. The courage I wish I'd claimed in full. My knees buckled. The family erupted, screams of unfair, and he's manipulated her. Jake lunged. That faggot poisoned her mind. Logan, who'd insisted on coming, blocked him, voice thunder. Touch him, and you're done. Chaos reigned. Accusations flying, Rita clutching pearls, Mom wailing betrayal. Harlan slammed the table. This is fraud. We'll contest. Prove he's unfit. Unfit. The word echoed terminal slurs, but Logan's arm around my waist grounded me. As cops arrived to escort them out, Grandma's locket burned in my pocket. The key, perhaps literal, to safe deposit boxes stuffed with her hidden life. Stocks from a queer women's collective in the 70s. Real estate flips under aliases to fund scholarships for outcasts like us. Outside, rain-slicked streets gleaming under sodium lamps, Logan pulled me into an alley, away from flashing badges. Ollie, I can't pretend anymore. His hands cupped my face, breath mingling. I've loved you since that prom, scared shitless, but in love. Your strength, your heart. It's everything. The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, then desperate, tasting of salt and storm. But joy fractured as my phone buzzed. Hospital. Grandma gone peacefully in her sleep, a note by her bed. To Oliver, shine on. Love, your Gram. Grief hit like a gale off the lake, doubling me over. Logan held me as sobs racked, whispering promises into my hair. The family sued, of course, court battles dragging through Illinois winters, headlines in the Tribune. Family feud over grandmother's gay legacy. They painted me the villain, gold-digging queer preying on the senile. Talk radio ranted about traditional values, protesters picketing the lawyer's office with signs like God hates thieves. I testified, voice steady, recounting the terminal abandonment, her lucid defenses of me, the locket's truth. She saw me. I said to the judge, a stern woman with kind eyes. When they erased me, she amplified. Logan stood sentinel, testifying to her affections, quitting his internship to freelance, sketching plans for a community center with the inheritance, Whitaker House, a haven for LGBTQ+ elders and youth, bridging generations like Graham had tried. But cracks formed. One night, post-deposition, whiskey burning my throat, doubt spilled. You deserve better than this circus log. A normal life, not my baggage. He knelt, eyes fierce. Normal? Screw that. You're my everything. The fight, the love, the mess. But if you push me away, hurt flickered raw? The trial's climax blindsided. Harlan's emails surfaced, subpoenaed, plotting to warehouse Grandma cheap, skim her assets for family needs. Oliver's the weak link, one read. Cut him out, and we're golden. The judge ruled in my favor, awarding costs, her gavel a thunderclap of justice. Cheers erupted from advocates in the gallery, PFLAG reps, queer elders who'd driven from Michigan. Outside, Mom approached haggard. I was wrong, Ollie. Scared. But she chose you for a reason. No apology, but a start. Human, flawed. Spring thawed Chicago's grip, Lake Michigan sparkling like Graham's eyes in memory. Logan and I broke ground on Whitaker House, a converted warehouse in Uptown. Affordable housing, therapy suites, art studios for stories like hers, suppressed and reclaimed. At the ribbon cutting, under a sky bruised purple, he dropped to one knee. Not proposal, but promise. Build this life with me. All of it. Tears blurred. I pulled him up, kissing him fierce amid cheers. Yet echoes lingered, the terminal's cold lights, slurs like scars. In quiet nights, Logan's arms around me, I whispered Graham's words. Live true, love fierce. Her fortune wasn't gold, it was permission, to heal, to hold, to humanize the abandoned. And in America's heartland churn, where rainbows clash with crosses, we carved our corner, not perfect, but profoundly ours. The summer after the trial felt like emerging from a storm cellar into blinding sun. Everything sharper, more alive, yet laced with phantom thunder. Logan and I dove into Whitaker House like it was our North Star, blueprints unrolling across his kitchen table amid takeout Thai and half-empty coffee mugs. Imagine it, he'd say, pencil between teeth, sketching sunlit common rooms where elders could swap 50s coming out tales with wide-eyed teens. A bridge, Ollie, not just walls, but stories binding us. His passion mirrored Graham's quiet rebellion, that locket key unlocking not just vaults, but vaults of silenced lives. But freedom's afterglow couldn't erase the fractures. My family splintered further. Harlan disowned, radio silence from Rita and Jake. Mom's overtures tentative, weekly calls laced with, I pray for you. That stung like veiled judgment. She's trying. Logan urged one evening, as we painted sample swatches on his living room wall, soft blues evoking Michigan dawns. Give her grace. Grace. The word tasted bitter. I'd ration mine dry nursing Graham through fogged memories, only to be discarded like yesterday's news. Work at the coffee shop ground on, a limbo of espresso steam and small talk, but tips funded our first contractor deposit. Patrons whispered, Some supportive, slipping extras with notes like, "Proud of you, kid." Others side-eyeing, the Trib article's stain lingering. One slow afternoon, a regular, grizzled vet named Frank clapped my shoulder. "Saw your story. My boy's like you. Hit it till he couldn't. Wish he'd had a gram like yours." His gravel voice cracked. I slid him a free scone, lump in my throat. Moments like that, threads weaving the human back into the hurt. Logan, though, God, Logan was the anchor I didn't deserve. Our nights blurred into domestic rhythm. Him drafting CAD files on his laptop while I banged out novel chapters, wine-fueled debates over plot twists ending in laughter and tangled sheets. No, not tangled like that. Our love was tentative, reverent, kisses traded over dish soap suds or porch swings, building slow like trust after betrayal. But doubts gnawed. One humid July evening, post-run along the lakefront, sweat slick and breathless on his balcony, I confessed. What if I'm broken goods? The family curse, abandonment magnet. He traced my jaw, eyes storm deep. Broken? Nah. You're resilient as hell. And I'm not going anywhere, unless you shove. Shove. The word echoed Jake's terminal venom, Harlan's emails. I didn't shove, but pulled back, subtle, like skipping his texts during long shifts, burying in Whitaker admin. He noticed, of course, Logan's empathy was a curse and gift. Talk to me. He pressed over burgers at our dive spot, the Wiener's Circle, where sass from the counter girls lightened heavy hearts. Is it the money? Guilt. I shrugged, ketchup packet twisting in my fingers. Feels like blood money. Graham's hidden life bought with silence. Marrying Grandpa to fit, burying her truth. He leaned in, voice low amid fryer sizzle. Then honor it by amplifying, not hiding. His words lingered as I visited Mom's new condo in Lincoln Park, her fresh start, funded by Harlan's scraps. Neutral ground, she'd suggested, over chamomile tea in her sterile kitchen. She looked smaller, lines etching deeper, cross necklace glinting like accusation. Ollie, I regret the airport. We were overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. Not excuse enough for wheeling Graham away, but a crack in her armor. I showed her the locket, spilling Graham's secret, Eleanor's love for Harriet, a farm girl lost to illness in '62. The investments seeded from a clandestine network of women like them, funneling funds to safe havens pre-Stonewall. Mom's hand trembled on the saucer. She never said. I thought her sad because of Granddad. Sad. Code for the ache of half-lives. She chose me because I reminded her of that courage. I said, voice steady. The kind you all tried to beat out. Tears welled. She reached, hesitant. Forgive me. Not yet, but the seed planted, humanity's messy thaw. August brought heat waves and headaches. Permits delayed. Donors flaky. A homophobic councilman blocking zoning, with family values bluster. Logan rallied. Charming architects at networking mixers, his charm offensive landing pro bono HVAC. But tension simmered. One night, after a donor dinner where suits eyed my tragic backstory, like Exhibit A, we argued. Rare, raw. You're pulling away again, he accused, pacing his loft, city lights fracturing through rain-streaked windows. Like I'm another Harlan, waiting to bail. Hurt flared. I fired back. Maybe I am the problem. Queer curse, dragging everyone down. He stopped, face crumpling. Ollie, I love you. But love's not a battlefield. If you can't trust this. The unsaid hung. And I fled to the hospital archives, digging Graham's records for solace. Her admission notes, a scrawled journal page tucked in. Oliver sees me whole. Let him carry the light I dimmed. Tears blurred ink. Resolve hardened. I drove to Logan's at dawn, pounding the door till he opened, sleep rumpled, eyes wary. I'm scared, I blurted, words tumbling, of losing you to this chaos. But you're my light too. Graham was right. He pulled me inside, forehead to mine. Then let's chase it together. No more half steps. The kiss sealed it, deep, affirming, a vow amid the vulnerability. Fall gilded Chicago gold, leaves crunching under boots as Whitaker House rose. Groundbreaking drew crowds, queer icons from Boys Town, elders sharing mics with stories of raids and rainbows. Mom came, tentative in the back, her presence a quiet win. But shadows loomed. Harlan's appeal, filed sly under undue influence, dredging depositions. Subpoenas hit. Logan's texts to me, intimate fragments twisted as grooming. Rage boiled. I paced our shared space now. His loft, our loft, fists clenched. They're weaponizing us, I seethed. Logan, ever the builder, sketched counters, affidavits from Graham's old friends, unearthed via the Lockett's network, women in their 80s testifying her lucidity, her choice. The hearing hit mid-October, a gray-skied slap in Cook County Courthouse. Harlan testified first, slick and seersucker. Oliver preyed on her delusions, isolated her. Lies slithered. I gripped the stand, recounting truths, their abandonment, her defenses. She left me everything because I stayed, I said, voice echoing off with panels. Not for money, but love, the kind you all denied her. Logan followed, unflinching. Eleanor's will was her voice. Contesting it? That's the real theft. The judge, same from trial, arched a brow at Harlan's cross-exam flubs. Dates wrong, motives glaring. Ruling dropped pre-Thanksgiving. Appeal denied. Sanctions on Harlan for frivolity. Elation surged, but hollow. Victory bittersweet without Graham's pie-scented hug. We celebrated small. Turkey at Logan's mom's, a brassy Irish woman who bear-hugged me, whispering, "Heard you fought the good fight, lad. Welcome." Her acceptance? Balm on old wounds. Winter whispered in, snow dusting the site like Graham's dusted sugar cookies. Logan and I stole moments, skating at Millennium Park, hands laced under mittens, breaths fogging, I love yous. But depth demanded decisions. My novel, submitted to a small queer press, rejection after rejection stinging. Its exposure, Logan coached, but doubt crept. Whitaker deadlines loomed. Fundraisers, hires, stretching us thin. One blizzard night, power out, candles guttering, I broke. What if I can't build this? What if I'm just the grandson who got lucky? He drew me close, heartbeat sinking. Luck? Nah. You're the architect of souls, Ollie. Trust the blueprint. Spring equinox bloomed hope. First residents moving in. Miss Evelyn, 78, with tales of Greenwich Village bars. Theo, 19, fleeing Bible Belt conversion camps. Opening gala hummed. Jazz trio, rainbow banners fluttering. Mom spoke, voice quavering. Eleanor taught forgiveness late, but fierce. Harlan? Absent, but rumors swirled. Bankrupt, his empire crumbling sans Graham's peanuts. Yet climax brewed unexpected. Jake's midnight call, slurred desperation. Harlan's gone, embezzled everything. Need help. Schadenfreude attempted, but Graham's light prevailed. I met him at a dingy diner, Logan at my side. Jake, hollow-eyed, spilled. We were wrong. About her. You. No sorries, but seeds. Get clean, I said. Then talk. Human. Flawed. Redeemable. Summer solstice crowned it. Whitaker thriving. My novel accepted. A poignant gut punch. The editor gushed. Logan proposed properly then. On that Michigan dock Graham loved. Ring simple, silver like her locket. Forever, he asked, waves lapping. Fierce. I echoed, sealing with salt-kissed lips. America's tapestry frays and mends. We wove ours resilient. Love's fortune, richer than gold. 2 years post-opening, Whitaker House stood as a beacon in Uptown's mosaic. Neo-Victorian facade gleaming under string lights. Laughter spilling from open windows like invitations to the hidden. I'd walk its halls at dusk, inhaling the medley of simmering goulash from communal kitchens and faint patchouli from art therapy sessions, feeling Graham's echo in every corner. You did good, kid, she'd say in my dreams, her laugh crinkling like autumn leaves. Logan and I, we'd morphed from tentative lovers to partners in the truest grind. Him helming expansions, me wrangling narratives through workshops where residents pen memoirs, unearthing buried truths. But peace, that American illusion, proved fleeting. Fall 2027 brought whispers of change. National winds shifting, a midterm surge of values candidates railing against woke estates like ours. Protests dotted the lawn, picketers with bullhorns decrying taxpayer-funded perversion, egged on by Harlan's ghost-ridden op-eds in fringe rags. Whitaker's a scam, one screeched, face twisted behind a MAGA cap. I faced them from the steps, megaphone steady. This house honors love, all of it. Join or leave. Hate builds nothing. Logan squeezed my hand off Mike, his quiet, proud, stealing spines. Internally, fissures cracked. Theo, our youngest resident, spiraled. Nightmares of electroshock camps bleeding into panic attacks, his trust shattered by a volunteer's unwitting dead-naming. "You promise safe," he yelled in group, eyes wild. Guilt gnawed. I'd greenlit that volunteer, blind to red flags. Logan mediated late nights, his architecture precision turning to emotional blueprints. Boundaries, Ollie. Not walls, but guides. Wise, but weariness etched him. Frown lines deepening, sketches frantic. Our bed felt vast some nights, words sparse amid exhaustion. Mom's thaw accelerated, oddly. Visiting bi-weekly, rolling up sleeves for bingo nights, her cross tucked away. Eleanor's rubbing off. She'd quip, dealing cards with surprising verve. One evening, post-dinner, she cornered me in the garden, fireflies winking like conspirators. "Jake's sober, 6 months. Asks about you." Jake, the terminal slur slinger, now a shadow in AA meetings. "Tell him growth's free," I said, clipped. But her eyes, Graham's eyes, softened the edge. "Forgiveness isn't absolution, Ollie. It's space." Space. For what? The family I'd buried with her will? External storm hit Thanksgiving Eve. A donor pullout. Major corpse citing PR risks amid boycott threats. Funds cratered. Logan paced our loft, phone glued to ear, schmoozing alternates. "We pivot," he insisted over cold turkey leftovers, but strain showed. Snaps over misplaced files, silences stretching like taffy. I retreated to writing, novel sequel stalling on a chapter mirroring our rift. Lovers divided by legacy's weight. "It's fiction," I muttered when he peeked. "Feels personal," he replied, hurt flickering. Climax erupted unbidden, a betrayal gut deep. December dawn, snow blanketing the city in hush. My phone lit with Jake's text. "Emergency. Meet at old house." Harlan. Harlan, estranged, eviscerated by his own greed, now crawling back? Logan stirred as I dressed. "Go alone." Caution laced his tone. "Family business," I said, kissing his brow. Back by lunch. The Evanston Victorian loomed spectral, icicles daggering eaves, windows boarded like blind eyes. Jake waited on the porch, gaunt in a threadbare coat, breath clouding. He's inside bad shape. Harlan sprawled in the parlor, whiskey bottle cradled, face a roadmap of ruin. Jaundiced, jowly, eyes sunk in pits. "Ollie," he rasped, voice whiskey-scarred. "The golden boy." Sarcasm dripped, but desperation underpinned. "Lost it all, deal gone south. Need a loan." From her money. Her money. Graham's fortune, twisted in his maw like stolen communion. Rage surged, hot and holy. "You abandoned her, wheeled her to oblivion like trash. Now you beg." He lurched up, finger jabbing. "That old dyke tricked us. Hiding assets, brainwashing you. You're no better, parading your filth in that freak house." Slurs landed, but this time, armor held. Graham's locket warm against my chest. "Filth. That's your mirror, uncle. She chose me because I saw her. Whole, loved. You? You saw dollar signs." Jake shifted, uneasy. "He's family, Ollie. Help. Family." The word mocked, echoing terminal echoes. I turned to leave, but Harlan lunged, grabbing my arm. Nails digging, breath foul. "You'll pay. Expose your little love nest." "Haze. I know things." Threat hung, vague but venomous. Panic spiked. What things? Logan's past flings? Our private vows. I wrenched free, bolting into snow whirl, heart hammering. Back at the loft, Logan waited, cocoa steaming, his worry ritual. What happened? Words tumbled. Harlan's plea, slurs, the grab. Omission slipped. The threat, too raw, too uncertain. "It's handled." I lied, collapsing into him. But seeds of doubt sprouted. What if Harlan dug dirt, unearthed Logan's buried skeletons? Logan, straight-passing pillar, had confessed once. A college hookup hushed, family pressure to man up. Exposure? Could shatter his career, our haven. Days blurred into paranoia. Anonymous calls to Whitaker, hang-ups laced with breathing menace. Protests swelled, a brick through our lobby window shattering glass. And trust. Logan confronted post-shift, eyes stormy over takeout falafel. You're shutting me out, again. Harlan, say something. Guilt twisted, I deflected. Just stress. Argument ignited. Stress? Or shame? Thinking I'll bolt like them. His voice broke, accusation laced with fear. I love you, but I can't chase ghosts. Door slammed. He crashed at a site's trailer, blueprints his cold companion. Solitude amplified ache. Nights scrolling old photos, Graham's smile accusing. Mom called. Intuitive. Fight's not just external, son. Logan's your mirror, face it. Mirror. Harlan's threat crystallized. Not dirt on Logan, but my fear. Projecting abandonment, pushing to preempt pain. Dawn broke resolve. I drove to the site, snowdrifts parting like doubts. He was there, thermos in hand, overseeing plumbers amid skeletal frames. Log. Wind whipped. He turned, guarded. Ollie. Here for closure? Heart seized. No, for truth. Harlan threatened exposure. You're past us. I hit it, scared it'd break you. But that's the break. My fear, not you. Words poured. Insecurities, Graham's lessons unfinished. He listened, then stepped close, frost-kissed cheeks flushing. Idiot. My past. Owned it with you. Threats? We faced together. Embrace thawed, forgiveness in his sigh. No more hiding. Promise. Reunion sparked renewal. Joint strategy session. Lawyers looping in for Harlan's cease and desist. Turns out his knowledge was bluff. Eavesdropped bar talk. Nothing substantive. Jake testified against him in a fraud probe, trading info for leniency, his redemption arc flickering. Harlan faded to Florida fringes, a cautionary whisper. Spring 2028 unfurled triumphant. Expansion groundbreaking. My sequel launch party at Whitaker. Readings amid canapes. Logan's toast slang. To Oliver, builder of worlds, holder of hearts. Mom danced with Theo, cross-glinting sans judgment. Jake attended, sober suit stiff, mumbling proud, awkward, but earnest. Yet depth demanded one final decision. Logan's job offer, lead architect in Seattle, 6 figures, stability. Go. I urged, terror masked as support. Whitaker's solid now. His eyes searched. Without you? No. Counter. Relocate together? Chicago's pulse thrummed. Our roots, Graham's Lake. Stay, I whispered. Build here. He nodded. Ring, our promise band, twisting. Here. Us. America churns. Hates flare, loves endure. In our corner, fortune's true heir. Connection, unbetrayed. By our 3rd anniversary, summer 2029, Logan and I had etched routines into the city's rhythm. Morning jogs along the lake, where freighters hooted like old friends. Evenings on the loft's fire escape. Jazz vinyl spinning low as fireflies mimicked the skyline's pulse. Whitaker House burgeoned. Satellite programs in Detroit and Milwaukee. A podcast amplifying resident voices. Echoes unsilenced. Graham's Locket inspiring the title. My novels stacked shelves in indie shops. Queerlit festivals buzzing with Whitaker's air, tags that chafed yet honored. Logan? Partnered on city commissions, his designs greening forgotten lots into community oases. But legacies demand reckoning. Harlan's shadow lingered faint. A civil suit settled out of court, his Florida exile punctuated by tabloid cameos. Fallen tycoon blames gay agenda. We laughed it off over IPAs at the hideout, but unease simmered. Mom's visits evolved. Overnight stays, her baking Graham's pies, Cross retired to a drawer. Faith's personal now, she'd say, passing scones. Jake? Rebuilt slow. AA sponsor at Whitaker, his amends a weekly coffee with me, stories traded like poker chips, his regrets for my scars. Terminal was rock bottom, he'd admit, eyes down. You rising? That's grace I don't deserve. Human threads mending, frayed but fibrous. External gales howled louder. National elections loomed. A firebrand senator targeting sanctuary spaces, like ours with defunding bills. Protests mutated. Less bullhorns, more organized. Fake reviews tanking donors. Bots flooding our socials with groomer bile. Theo, now a workshop lead, armored up but cracked privately. Feels like camps again. Hunted. We bolstered security, therapy slots, but toll mounted, burnout's quiet siege. Logan's strain mirrored mine. Late nights tweaking proposals, his easy grin strained. One August Eve, post-fundraiser where a donor grilled return on investment for deviants. We collapsed on the dock. Our Michigan escape, Graham's cabin rented yearly. Stars wheeled overhead, lake lapping like whispers. Remember the first time here? He murmured, head on my shoulder. You kissed me like the world ended. I chuckled, fingers tracing his. It did, old world. This one's heavier. He propped up, eyes lake deep. Heavy how? Talk, Ollie. Truth uncoiled. The weight. Not just Whitaker's helm, but mine. Graham's fortune? It's freedom, but chains too. Eyes on us, judging every brick. And you? God, log, you're my son, but what if I eclipse it? Drag you into endless fight. Vulnerability bared, his hand stilled. Eclipse? Nah, you illuminate. But yeah, it's grind. My ma's sick, early dementia. Echoes of Eleanor. Revelation landed soft, seismic. His mom, our rock, fading, Irish fire dimming to confusion. Hiding it? I asked, piecing silences. He nodded, sheepish. Didn't want a burden. But seeing you with Graham taught me wrong. Burden. The word ignited old fuses. Family's terminal discard. My fears of unworthiness. We're partners, I said fierce, sitting up. No solos. Tears pricked. He leaned in, foreheads touching. Promise kept. Tell me everything. We did. Her symptoms, Milwaukee docks, the pull to relocate nearer her. Decision loomed, root or roam. Chicago's heart tugged. Whitaker, novels, mended kin. But family, blood and chosen. Autumn accelerated. Logan's ma worsened, lucid spells gift-wrapped with stories, her Dublin youth, fleeing famine ghosts for American dreams. We visited, her bungalow a time capsule of doilies and Sinatra records. You're a keeper, Oliver, she'd wink, patting my cheek, eyes already clouding. Harlan intruded absurd. A letter, postmarked Miami, scrawled plea for reconciliation loan. I burned it in the sink, ashes swirling like exorcism. Jake, overhearing at group, shook his head. Let him sink. You swam. Climax crested unexpectedly, a storm of flesh and fury. November gala at Whitaker, black tie affair. Mayor toasting our impact, string quartet weaving Mendelssohn. Midway, doors burst. Harlan, disheveled in ill-fit tux, flask glinting, flanked by reporters from some alt-right rag. Thieves, he bellowed, staggering podium-ward. Stole my mother's legacy for this sodomite circus. Chaos erupted, guests gasping, security lunging, flashes popping like gunfire. He lunged at me, wild-eyed. You and your pansy boyfriend ruined us. Logan intercepted, shoulder-checking him back, solid, unyielding. Enough, Harlan. You're done. But Harlan swung, fist glancing Logan's jaw, blood blooming on crisp collar. Red haze. I tackled, pinning him as cops swarmed. For Graham. I roared, knuckles white on his lapels. You discarded her, alive, loving. I honored. His eyes, bloodshot, flickered, defeat, or dawning. She chose wrong. He slurred, but fight ebbed, medics hauling him to psych eval. Aftermath rippled, headlines twisted. Air scuffle at Queer Center, but our board spun positive, donations spiking from allies. Logan's bruise faded green, a badge he wore wryly. First black eye for love, he joked over ice packs. But depth plunged. That night, Ma's care peaked. Stroke, ICU in Milwaukee. We raced, hand in hand through ER fluorescence, her frail form tubed and beeping. Boys, she rasped lucid, gripping us. Don't fight alone. Build bridges, like you're doing. She slipped days later, peaceful, her wake a Kaylee of songs and stories. Logan's eulogy slaying. She crossed oceans for us. We'll cross any for her. Grief wove us tighter, decisions crystallizing. Whitaker, delegated to Theo's capable hands, satellites humming. Novels. Touring circuit, voice carrying. We relocated. Hybrid. Milwaukee base for Logan's firm branch, Chicago weekends anchoring roots. Mom hosted send-off brunch, Jake toasting awkward. To new chapters, without the bullshit. Laughter cathartic, forgiveness flowered, tentative. Yet by Kitch's shadow loomed. Not loss, but letting go. Cabin sale, Graham's Michigan haven. To fund expansions, dock dismantled under autumn sun. Last walk, waves sighing farewell, Logan wrapped arms around. End of era? I murmured. Nah, prologue to more. Proposal redux. Vows exchanged lakeside. Small circle. Mom officiating. Jake best man. Theo ring bearer. In joy and grit, Logan vowed. Ring sliding home. Fierce. I echoed, sealing with depth's kiss. America's canvas, vast, veined with veins of venom and valor, holds our stroke, not flawless, but felt. Graham's fortune, echo in every bridge built, every heart held. We carry it forward, loved, unbroken.